Do you feel like your focus is broken? Like you can't sit down and read a book, or even watch a full movie, without an almost unbearable urge to pick up your phone? Do you feel a constant, low-grade anxiety, a sense of restlessness you just can't shake? A feeling that the simple things that used to bring you joy now feel a little dull? You might have told yourself that this is just part of getting older. That life after 40 means having a little less energy, a little less focus, a little less vitality. I'm here to tell you that is not true. That feeling is not your age. It is not a personal failure. It is a biological system in your brain that has been hijacked by the modern world. It's a chemical called dopamine, and right now, it's working against you. But it doesn't have to be this way. Today, we are going to explain exactly what is happening inside your brain and give you a clear, science-backed plan to take back control, reset your focus, and get the color back into your life. Hello, and welcome to 40 Plus Wellness. We're so glad you're here. This is a space dedicated to you, to navigating the incredible journey of life after 40 with strength, health, and wisdom. Our promise is simple: to bring you authentic, meticulously researched information that you can actually use in your real life. If you believe in this mission to reclaim our health with wisdom, not quick fixes, please take a moment to subscribe and join our community. We'd be honored to have you on this journey with us. Today, we're opening up 3 crucial case files. 3 principles that will demystify what's happening in your brain and give you the tools to rebuild your focus from the ground up. Let's begin. Inside your brain, there's a powerful neurotransmitter called dopamine. For a long time, we called it the pleasure molecule, but it's more accurate to think of it as the motivation molecule. It's the chemical that tells your brain to pay attention, because something important for your survival might be happening. Think of how your brain processes dopamine like a perfect seesaw or a balance scale. When you do something that feels good, eat a sugary snack, get a like on a post, or have a glass of wine, your brain releases dopamine and the pleasure side of the scale tips down. But your brain's primary goal is not to make you happy, it's to keep you alive. And to do that, it demands balance, a state called homeostasis. So, to counteract that tip towards pleasure, your brain immediately works to tip the scale in the opposite direction, towards pain. Now, this isn't necessarily physical pain. It's the subtle feelings of restlessness, irritability, anxiety, and craving. It's that feeling when the pleasure fades, and you immediately want more. For every pleasure, there is an equal and opposite pain. That is the brain's fundamental rule. Let's consider a case study. We'll call him James, a successful man in his early 50s. James didn't have a major addiction, but he felt like the joy had gone out of his life. When we looked at his daily routine, it seemed pretty normal. He'd wake up and immediately check the news and his work emails on his phone. That's a little hit of dopamine. He'd have a sweetened coffee. Another hit. Throughout the day, his phone would buzz with notifications, dozens of tiny little dopamine hits. In the evening, to unwind, he'd have 2 glasses of wine while watching a fast-paced news show. More hits. Individually, none of these things seem like a big deal. But he was tipping his scale to the pleasure side hundreds of times a day. And his brain, trying desperately to keep things level, was pushing back harder and harder on the pain side. His baseline feeling, his default state, was being dragged down into a dopamine deficit. Think of it like this: your brain has a team of workers on that seesaw. When you drop a bag of sugar on the pleasure side, the workers on the pain side have to jump on their end to level it out. But if you keep dropping sugar bags on the pleasure side all day long, the workers on the pain side have to get stronger and more numerous just to keep up. Eventually, they have to stay on their side of the seesaw all the time just to keep things from flying out of control. This is why you eventually need more and more of something just to feel normal. You're no longer seeking pleasure. Your brain is just trying to get out of pain. This is the biological root of why you can't focus and why simple joys feel dull. So, your first step is not to change anything. It is simply to become a detective of your own behavior. For the next 3 days, I want you to conduct a dopamine audit. Get a notebook and write down the things you do for a quick dopamine hit. When do you pick up your phone? What foods do you crave when you're stressed? What are your digital escapes? Don't judge it. Just observe it. This act of bringing your unconscious habits into the light is the first, most powerful step toward taking back control. If this dopamine system is a natural part of our biology, why is it causing such a crisis for us now? The answer is what we'll call the modern mismatch. Our brains were wired thousands of years ago in a world of scarcity. Dopamine was the crucial tool that motivated our ancestors to do hard things, like hunting for food or finding shelter. In that world, rewards were rare and they required a lot of effort. Now, fast forward to today. You are walking around with that same ancient brain, but in a world of staggering, unnatural abundance. You don't have to hunt for a meal. You can have one delivered to your door. You don't have to seek out social connection. You can get thousands of simulated connections through a glowing screen. Our brains, wired for scarcity, are now drowning in an ocean of easy, abundant, and potent dopamine. This brings me to another case, a woman named Susan, age 48. Susan's life was stressful, and her escape was her tablet. Late at night, she would get lost in the world of online shopping and social media. The thrill of finding a deal, the curated perfection of other people's lives, it was a potent distraction. She said, "I know it's silly, but it's the only time I feel like I'm doing something for me." But she also felt more disconnected and anxious than ever. Her digital escape wasn't recharging her, it was draining her. Her ancient brain, desperate for a reward, had found a source that was infinitely available and required zero effort. And it was destroying her peace of mind. Digital dopamine is unlike anything our brains have ever dealt with before. It's powerful for 3 reasons. First, its potency. Modern technology and processed foods are supercharged versions of the rewards our brains evolved to seek. It's the difference between finding one wild berry and finding an entire candy store. Second, its novelty. Dopamine is triggered by new and unexpected things. A social media feed is a bottomless slot machine of novelty. Every flick of your thumb could reveal something new, keeping you hooked. And third, its accessibility. The most potent dopamine triggers in human history are in our pocket, available 24 hours a day. There is no friction, no effort required. This combination creates a perfect storm that keeps our pleasure-pain scale permanently tilted towards pain, making us feel tired, unfocused, and perpetually unsatisfied. Since the problem is infinite access, the solution is to consciously reintroduce friction and scarcity into your life. The goal is to put space between your impulse and your action. Here are 3 ways to do this. First, grayscale your phone. Go into your accessibility settings and turn the screen to black and white. A world without vibrant colors is profoundly less appealing to your brain. Second, turn off notifications. Every buzz and pop-up is a demand for your attention. Go into your settings and turn off all notifications except for phone calls and texts from your most important contacts. You will be amazed at the mental quiet this creates. And third, create no-phone zones. Designate physical spaces and times where your phone is not allowed. The dinner table is a great place to start. The bedroom is even better. Buying a simple alarm clock and charging your phone in another room is one of an incredible gift to your sleep and your sanity. So far, we've talked about removing the things that unbalance our system. But the final and most powerful principle is about what to add. To truly heal our reward pathways, we must intentionally press on the pain side of the balance first. This sounds strange, but it's the secret key. When we do things that are difficult or require effort, like exercise, taking a cold shower, or focusing on a hard task, we are pressing on the pain side of our brain's seesaw. And our brain, in its quest for balance, responds by tipping the scale back toward pleasure. But this isn't the fleeting spike and crash pleasure of easy dopamine. It's a broader, more sustained, and more satisfying rise in our sense of well-being. We can call this hard dopamine. It's the kind you earn, and it's the only kind that lasts. Let's check back in with James. He implemented a 30-day reset. His biggest challenge was this new rule of hard dopamine. He started with two things: leaving his phone in the car when he went to the gym and taking a 60-second cold shower every morning. The first week was miserable. But then, something shifted. He started noticing that for hours after the gym and the shower, he felt clear-headed and capable. He sat down with that book he'd been trying to read and finished 3 chapters in one sitting. The color was starting to come back into his world. Susan, meanwhile, decided her hard dopamine would be tackling her overgrown garden. She deleted her social media apps and spent 20 minutes every evening outside. At first, it just felt like another chore. But soon, she noticed the deep satisfaction of clearing the earth and planting seeds. She was tired at the end of the day, but it was a good tired, a satisfying tired, not the wired, anxious fatigue that came from her tablet. When you exercise or do something difficult, your brain registers it as a mild form of stress. To compensate, it slowly increases the baseline level of dopamine in your reward circuit. Unlike the sharp spike from a cheap thrill, this is a slow and steady mountain climb. You put in the hard work on the way up, and you get to enjoy a long, beautiful view from the top. By consistently choosing effort, you are fundamentally retraining your dopamine system. This brings us to your 30-day reset plan. For the next month, I invite you to commit to this. First, schedule a weekly dopamine fast. Pick one 24-hour period each week to go without your biggest sources of easy dopamine. No social media, no news feeds, no junk food. Let yourself be bored. Boredom is where creativity can finally grow again. Second, take your daily dose of hard dopamine. Every day, do one thing that is mildly difficult. A 20-minute brisk walk. A 30-second blast of cold water in the shower. Tackling one nagging task on your to-do list. And third, practice active presence. Choose one activity a day where you will be fully present, without a digital companion. Just for 5 or 10 minutes, focus all your senses on that single activity. This trains your brain to find reward in reality again. This can feel like a lot. The purpose is not to add more stress to your life, but to give you a path out of it. So please, do not try to do everything at once. Your first step is simple. I want you to make this real by sharing one thought in the comments below. Just tell us, what is the one source of easy dopamine from your dopamine audit that you recognize most in your own life? There is no judgment here. Just by naming it, you take away its power. You'll also see from the other comments that you are not alone in this. That is the first step. The world will continue to get louder and more demanding of your attention. But you do not have to be a victim of it. You now understand the system. You have the tools. You have the power to regulate your own mind and to choose where you find your joy. Thank you for your time and for your trust. Now go and be the health detective that you and your family deserve.